Welcome to the Homeschool Oklahoma podcast. Homeschool Oklahoma is a state organization for homeschooling in Oklahoma. We promote, protect, and encourage privately funded Christian homeschooling in the state. Our goal is to help you build your family through homeschooling in the name of Jesus. The goal of this podcast is to help homeschoolers, specifically Oklahoma homeschoolers, take full advantage of everything this state offers to homeschooling. We will be talking about everything from why we homeschool to what resources are available in Oklahoma for homeschooling families. My name is Jonathan Bartlett, and I'm one of the board members of Homeschool Oklahoma. If you want to know more about Homeschool Oklahoma or want to support us by becoming a member, go to homeschooloklahoma.org and click the Join Now button. So today, one of the important things that Homeschool Oklahoma does is to make sure our legislature doesn't do anything to impact our homeschooling freedoms. And one important component of that is Capital Day. And today, our guest is the organizer of Capital Day, Kevin Collins. Kevin, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So what makes the legal framework of homeschooling in Oklahoma unique?
It's very unique because the freedom to homeschool is actually built within the Constitution, or the state Constitution. Back when they were developing and writing the Constitution for Oklahoma, one of the concerns was farmers that were in the rural areas to where they couldn't get their children into the school system or to the school building to be able to have the parents educate their children. And so when they wrote the Constitution, they put in the actual wording was by other means, and so that includes homeschooling. And so by law, the state of Oklahoma, they protect the right to homeschool, and our desire is to keep that freedom from any type of state restrictions or just having a thumbs on the family, so to speak, to where they would regulate what they can teach and what they can't teach and how to teach it. And so our job is just to keep that freedom as just as normal as possible. We have the freest state right now. We want to keep it that way. We don't want anything added or subtracted. We just want to keep things as they are.
So how does that compare to other states?
Wow. There is, like, if you go to California, New York, even Colorado to a point, there are restrictions from of what type of curriculum they can teach, what type of curriculum they can't teach, all the way up to being so restricted that the parent has to be a certified teacher. A lot of your states require a lesson plan from the parents to be able to help regulate that, to make sure that they're kept accountable.
So in other states, you actually have to submit your lesson plans to the state?
Absolutely. Yes.
But what about Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, nothing.
Nothing.
You do not even. The one thing that we request is that if you pull your child out of a public school, that you would send a letter of almost like a resignation that you are pulling your child out, and that's all you have to do. It's not required, but it is suggested as a courtesy. But then once that happens, the parent is able to use the curriculum that they choose, to teach the way that they want to, even to have as many hours in the day to teach as they want to. Just built specifically for their student, for their child, because parents know best of how their children's going to learn.
So the purpose of the letter is to kind of avoid truancy, right?
Yes.
So,
It's just it's not to muddy the waters, so to speak. It's just to keep everything above board. And again, it's a courtesy to show that, hey, this is what I'm doing. And if you don't do it, then there's a possibility that they could try to something, and they can't do anything legally, but it's just to keep everything above board, that this is
clear.
And clear. Exactly.
So what if you've never, like you've got a young kid and they haven't started kindergarten yet? Do you still need to send that letter?
No,
Okay.
You do not. You do not. My wife and I, we've homeschooled all of our children up through graduation from 3 years old, and we just started. They have never been registered with the state. They're not on the grid, so to speak, and so We were able to teach them the way we want to. We were able to use the curriculum that we chose, and everything. We've never been bothered by the state, just because the state of Oklahoma isn't required to have that type of regulation. They've graduated. One is she finished her early childhood degree at Cameron University and got that degree, and our son is in VOTEC learning carpentry. ACTs were accepted. Everything was accepted. So there is no reason for a parent to be concerned if once they graduate that they're not going to be able to have a normal college life like if they were going to go to a public school. And so they have every opportunity as they would if they went to a public school.
So how do they get their diploma?
The way we did it was we were associated with Homeschool Legal Defense, HSLDA, and that is a national organization that helps parents in states, actually, that, like if they were in California or in New York or states that had a really deep restriction to homeschoolers, and if they ever come up with a problem, if they are a member of HSLDA, they can actually go in or call their representative, and the representative will call or talk to, if it's a truancy officer or someone from the state at that point in time, to be able to resolve anything, any discrepancy or any confusion that was made. But since we were part of this association, they have a service that they use that they will create a diploma for you. And so our child, we had, say Noah, for instance, our son, had a graduation form in our co-op, and they received a diploma. And my wife, we had the transcripts made. She did them. And the university, for my daughter at Cameron, they accepted the transcripts. They were very welcoming since she was a homeschool student because of just the scores that she made. And so there was no problems.
Yeah, colleges recently have seemed to really want the homeschool students.
Yes, because it's just they're more. It sounds bad, but they're more mature. They're more responsible, and so they want that on their campuses, so they don't have to be always keeping an eye on them.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of are you advocating for any specific laws in Oklahoma?
No, we're actually just on Capitol Day. What we do is we go up, and there's families that will come up, and we have homemade cookies for the legislators, and it's a dozen of them, and we box them up. Families will go up and just present them to the homeschool or to the legislators to tell them thank you for serving our state. We have a group of individuals that will sign up that are called Minutemen, and if there's any legislation that is being introduced for the year that seems to be kind of impinging on our freedom or adding restriction, we will go up and talk to the author of the bill and ask them to either strike it, to kill it, or change wording in it to exclude us, because sometimes we get tied into charter schools or online public schools. Mm-hmm. And if they can get the wording different to where it excludes traditional homeschooling families, then we accept that. But we just go up there and tell them thank you for not having any laws on this. Thank you for leaving us alone, and we just want you to just leave us alone.
Right, so you're not asking for anything.
No, we're not asking. We're not lobbying for anything. We don't ask for anything. We just say
pretend,
thank you.
Pretend we don't exist.
Yes, exactly. I was never here.
Keep your money. Don't give us anything. Don't take anything away.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that's the kind of the feeling I get, that it's the constitutional guarantee that we really like. The constitutional guarantee, and we're trying to make sure that nobody adds or subtracts anything to it.
Exactly.
What would be a problem if they were to try to give benefits to homeschoolers?
If they, years past, they tried to do what they call savings accounts, ESAs, education savings accounts, or vouchers, and you would have the state come in and say, hey, if you're homeschooling, we'll give you this computer, this laptop, and we'll give you this curriculum. We'll give you money to purchase what curriculum you need. That's all good on the surface, but for the state to be able to give that money away, they have to have an accountability of why they're giving it and who they're giving it to and what's it being spent on. And so if that's the case, then they have got to regulate what type of curriculum, and they are able to have those strings attached to that family to be able to tell them what they can and cannot do with that money. And so we if there's a bill that is introducing that, we will lobby against that, because that just opens up a Pandora's box for future legislation to come in and say, oh, there's a precedence there. So now we can add this and we can add this, and eventually we could end up like California or New York just within a couple of sessions.
So the benefits come with chains.
Yes.
That reminds me of there was the Little Lighthouse School, and real early on, they're a special needs preschool, and they were privately funded, and the state at one time asked them to take care of special needs kids when the state first required that, and they took state money, and at first the state's like, yeah, do whatever you want, but then the next year they start adding requirements, and very soon, and now thankfully Little Lighthouse, once that started happening, they said, okay, you can now keep your money, but that's the thing that always happens, is that at first the money is free, and then very soon afterwards, they started saying, oh, well, maybe we need to tighten this down and restrict this and restrict that. And before too long, what you thought was free money winds up costing a lot more than the money itself.
Exactly. Arizona tried that a couple years ago, I want to say about 4 years ago, to where if you wanted this amount of money, then your child actually had to be within the public school system for 100 days. And then you could draw them out. But the problem with that was that that money was then lost within the state, and they come to find out as a state, Arizona could not support this because it was money that was being spent, but then it wasn't benefiting the state. They were losing it. And so they had to pull out of that. And so it's not beneficial for the state to do that. So we just, if anything comes across our radar, that's something that we get concerned about, and we kind of tell them, we don't want that.
So Capital Day is our big day for letting everybody know what's going on. When's that happening?
Okay, it's going to happen this year on February the 10th. That's on a Thursday.
Okay. February 10th.
Normally we start at the Capitol, and then we head over to the Oklahoma History Center across the street, but because of reservation constrictions, we are starting and ending at the History Center. So what we're doing is from 8:30 to 9:30, families that have signed up for Patriots or Minutemen will come to the History Center, not at the Capitol, but the History Center across the street to get their packets or their cookies, depending on what they signed up for. And then the families will go over to the Capitol from 9 o'clock to 11:30, and they will introduce themselves to the legislators. What's interesting is that the legislators expect this. They expect cookies. We didn't do cookies last year because of COVID and the restrictions that was going on. And when we went up there, they were really bummed about it. They really wanted cookies.
Right.
And so we started that back up this year. And families just go in and just say, hey, we're the Smith family, and we just want you to know thank you so much for serving our state. And this is some cookies we just want to give you. And what it does is it gives a face to the homeschooling name. And then we have these Minutemen that have been given these bills to show what's the danger of it, and they'll go in and they'll just talk to the legislators, say, hey, this is something that once it's brought up, we do not want this because of this, and this, or this needs to be changed. And really we have two groups going. But as a family, it is an unbelievable day to be able to bring your students to learn about how the state operates in legislation, and also about the history of Oklahoma, because at 11:30 the families will go back to the History Center, and we have our HSLDA state representative. He's going to be speaking there for about maybe 30 minutes, just talking about the laws that are going on within the state and within our nation that could be a situation or a problem with homeschooling families. But he's there to answer any questions that families may have about homeschooling and the legality of it. And then after that, about 12:45, the whole museum is open to the families. We'll have live historians set up to where they're going to be in costume, and they're going to be talking about whether it's a cattle driver or a Dust Bowl mom or wife or a Civil War soldier, and they're going to be in character talking about the history that they lived. And
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And we also have they have entered, or they brought one of the Apollo missions to the museum, so it is kind of it's kind of surrounded by the thought of the astronauts of Oklahoma, and so you'll be able to see the Apollo, and you'll be able to look at the history of that and be able to experience that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So so this is on February 10th.
Yes, February 10th.
All right. And so how does someone get signed up to participate?
Easiest way to do it is go to homeschooloklahoma.org, and there's going to be a tab that says Capital Day, and just click on it, and 3/4 of the way down there is a registration form. And all you have to do is just type in your email and just click a couple of buttons to fill it out, and then we get it, and we'll know that you're coming. You'll eventually get an email of the schedule, and we'll just expect to see you there. If you do want to be a person that is going to be a Minuteman and want to...
What's the difference between...
Okay, the difference between... There's actually 3 categories. There's prayer warrior, which if for some reason you can't make it and you just want to be able to lift that whole day up in prayer, there is going to be a prayer schedule actually that's going to be put on the website, to where every day there's specific things that you can pray for, and it's going to be 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after Capital Day. If you just want to go as a family to be able to give cookies and just to say hi to your legislator that represents you, then you can just sign up for that, pick up your cookies at the center, go over to the Capitol, say hi, to be able to talk to them for a little bit, and then come back for the rest of the events for the afternoon at the History Center. But if you want to be a Minuteman, you just sign up with that, and what will happen is that we will send an email of a time that you would be able to meet as a group online, via Zoom, and we will just discuss on how to, if you've never done this before, just to how to approach your legislator, to how to be able to talk to them, the do's and don'ts, and to be able to we'll share the bills that we have concern over, and we'll give all this information to you with a packet to be able to give to the legislators, and it's really easy. Out of the 13 years I've done this, I think I've had one legislator saying, "No, I'm not changing anything. I really don't want to listen."
Right.
They've been very, very receptive. The reason why is because we come in non-threatening. We come in saying, "Hey, we just want you to leave us alone. It's not that big of a deal. We're not wanting anything from you. We don't want money. We don't want time. We just want you to leave us alone."
Right.
And they just, as legislators, friends that I have there in the state, they're like, "We love that." So.
Now, one thing that I have seen when I've done that before is the one issue that comes back is they ask about our relationship with Epic and the kind of charter school thing. So so how does what Homeschool Oklahoma does, how does that relate to Epic, if at all?
Well, when we think of Homeschool Oklahoma, our mission is to support and help family-funded, family-directed homeschooling families, homeschools. Epic is at home, but they are government-funded, and they do have a state or a government person to come in and be able to assess the student and what they're doing. So by definition, we don't support that, but we'll encourage, because
we encourage the people.
Exactly.
We don't
encourage them to do that, but we do protect the freedom to be able to make that decision. The best way, I mean, for us right now, we talk about the whole vaccine mandate. Are you against it or are you for it? That's not the issue. The issue is the freedom to take it or not.
Right.
Because that's our country. We're based on choice and freedom. And so when it comes to homeschool, are you traditionally a homeschool, or are you epic or public online homeschooling? We are focused on the freedom of it, but we do encourage and support family directed and family funded.
Right. So what we're advocating for is for family funded. If you're privately, if you're funding it yourself, then the state shouldn't interfere with us.
Right.
And so if other people make other decisions, they leave themselves open to the state having influence.
Exactly.
But the point is that if you're not making those choices, if you're choosing to fund it yourself, then there's no reason why the state should have anything to say about how we do it.
Exactly. And I know that there's families that are there, moms, I can't do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
You can. It's something new, and it is trying at first. But like anything else, you fall into a routine.
Mm-hmm. And you're not by yourself.
That's what's so beautiful about it. You're never by yourself.
Just because you don't have the state doesn't put you by yourself.
You've got other families. You have co-ops. You have support groups. You have Homeschool Oklahoma. And what I love about Homeschool Oklahoma is that on our Facebook page, we'll have a mom, a brand new homeschooling mom, that will message us saying, "Hey, I need help with finding curriculum. Can anyone help me?" And of course, you get the generic, "Thank you for contacting us. Someone will get in touch with you." And it's just a matter of, I would say, an average of maybe an hour. And I see we're already contacting. We're already having this rapport to encourage how to direct them, where to go. And it's always, "Thank you so much. I couldn't have done this without this information." So that information's there. It's just you just have to be able to look for it instead of just sitting down and opening your mouth and have it spoon fed to you.
Gotcha. So all right. So our freedoms. That's what we're looking for on Capitol Day.
Yes.
Making sure that
leave it alone.
Yeah, leave us alone. Just don't give us anything. Don't take us away. You can pretend we're not here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay. So just to wrap up, so that's going to be on February 10th.
February 10th.
And if you want to join, you should sign up on the homeschooloklahoma.org website.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So and
if we also if you are like a miraculous baker, there's also a form on that same page if you want to make cookies. We give a dozen cookies to each legislator, so that's 151 dozen that we need. And so if you want to sign up, you get an email, and they'll give you how many dozen you want to make, and then you're going to eventually get an email showing where the drop-off points are of the week before, so that we can get those cookies to a central area to where we can box and to be able to have those ready for the Patriots to go and take those to the legislators.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And so that's our episode for this time, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.